we have plenty of time for some questions, and then we can join outside for further discussion. But I open the floor to questions.
Was there any analytical work done as far as the influent concentrations?
Yeah, the influent was much, much higher. And influent is tricky because effluent is hard enough to analyze. When you got influent, it's, you can imagine the chunkiness, and so you got to measure, the liquid portion, the solid portion. So yeah, there's even higher concentrations in influent, and part of that, I think, reduction between influent and effluent is partitioning to the solids. We're seeing very high concentrations of a lot of these compounds in the biosolids. I think half the biosolids in the U.S. are land applied as a logical source of disposal mechanism, because there is a nutrient value to that. But there's also a whole range of pharmaceuticals, personal care products that are in there as well, which, if you're applying it to a field, whether it's cornfield, a wheat field, or your garden, there could be uptake into plant materials and ultimately maybe consumption via that route. So, but influent is a lot harder to deal with, and there's also a safety factor as well. I mean, obviously there's going to be pathogens. It's generally on the effluent side. There's certainly some risk, but you're not talking about raw untreated waste. Yeah, we're back.
Could you talk a little bit about biological cleansing? I noticed you spoke about activated sludge. Have they identified any bacteria that clean these things up?
I think there is, and certainly there's these construction wetlands. So there's trying to take so there is biological. Can be some biological treatment, but you also have to watch where some cases, if you have high concentrations, you can whack your bacteria population in your wastewater treatment plant and just throw things out of kilter. But yeah, I think that has some merit. I think we haven't done as much on the engineering side, but there's a lot of people looking at these various treatment technologies to see if that can be one logical one, or if there's ozone type treatment or other more sophisticated treatment. I don't think no treatment have I seen so far will remove everything. That's where I think, right now I try to stress the wastewater treatment plants are not out of compliance, and I think it's too early to say we need to have every plant upgraded to this certain level, because I don't think we really know. That's a huge investment. And a lot of these, particularly like the ozone and so forth, or some of the other treatment technologies, are very energy hungry as well. So you have this offset of energy versus some of these contaminants. So I think, and personally, it's not the view of the U.S., just my personal opinion, I think we need more research to figure out if it's X, Y, and Z, maybe the worst players. And once you got it down to maybe 4 or 5 bad actors, then I think you can really go after a certain treatment and be very good. But to say you just can't have a plant to have 100% removal of everything, that's just not feasible. And so I don't know, it's a long-winded question. I don't know if I answered it properly, but.
Thank you.
There was another one back there. He answered it. All right.
Oh. Yep, David.
I don't know if I missed it or not, but the estrogenicity that was measured, how was that measured?
It was a cell line approach, so basically, you extract the sample, and so you have these. Again, that's way outside my area's expertise, but it's these cell lines where it's receptor binding type of assays. So I think they have a lot of merit. I mean, I wouldn't put my head on those exclusively, but they're very, very helpful. In some cases, we'll measure chemically. We know there's, say, high estrone or 7-beta estradiol, and we look at the bioassay test, and it has high estrogenicity. Matches perfectly. Other cases, we don't see anything chemically in terms of what we're measuring, but we'll have a sample that has estrogenic activity. So there's something else that we're missing. So they're really good kind of a catch screening to see what else may be out there that we're just not catching. Maybe it's a natural phytoestrogen or a mycotoxin or some other, there's a lot of compounds that mimic estrogen. So really, it's a nice complementary tool. So I think we're trying to use those both simultaneously. I don't think, they both have their strengths. We try to use them together to really feed off each other to more comprehensively understand what's going on. But they're a lot cheaper too. So I mean, that's one thing. What we haven't, you could use it as a stage approach. You go and screen them all by estrogenicity and see what you find, and then only use your high-powered, expensive analytical tools to those that we're finding the activity in.
One thought along those lines is that we may be underestimating endocrine disruption by just focusing on estrogenicity.
I absolutely agree. Yeah. I mean, there's androgenicity, there's anti-estrogenicity, there's thyroid activity. So that's, you're right. That's the rest of the research I think will eventually catch up. But you're right. Most of the focus has been on estrogen activity, and you're right, that may be just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of stuff going on out there that this is kind of beyond my area of expertise. That's why I have a multidisciplinary team, and I kind of just make sure that we're all kind of going in the same direction. But yeah, that's an area of research that a lot of people are getting into now.
Any other questions? All right, I
So
have
I'm
some.
consuming my bisphenol A as we talk here.
Yeah, sorry about that. I have some housekeeping here that I have to announce. So before Dana leaves, let me do that real quick. So April 23rd, Mark Bastron will be presenting. I don't have a title for you, unfortunately. There'll be something on isotopes, I can tell you that, and how they're used in the environment. Okay, many of you know Mark is he's part of the committee that helps with organizing this seminar series. April 30th, Tammy Newcomb from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources will talk about Michigan's new invasive species initiative. So that will be the last one for the year, so we've got 2 more, so please join us. And before we go outside, I invite all of you to join Dana and everyone else, and we can continue the conversation over coffee and treats. I want to give Dana a token of our appreciation. I really appreciate you coming. I know your travel is very busy.
Thank you.
But this is it's a gift from a local pottery store that is very
Awesome.
famous, so I hope you like it. And it travels well, so you'll get through the airport. So let's thank Dan one more time, and everybody come on. Thank you, Dan.
Well, I hope I wouldn't. I try to talk. Sometimes I have too many slides, so I want to make sure I get under.